Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. It is a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I am Naaila, and I am a contributing counselor with About Islam. I'm pulling up all of my great questions. I see folks are coming in. I see my people from About Islam who are always there to help keep me organized, keep me all together. Okay, I'm going to my questions. I am having awful technical difficulties. Here we go. Today, my Wi-Fi just keeps going out on me. All right. So, how are you? As always, want this to be a safe, judgment-free zone, and I do relationships. I do all things relationships. So, if you have questions in regard to relationships, be it a marriage relationship, a parenting relationship, and an intended relationship, or even a personal relationship, the relationship that you have with yourself, please, you can put in your question right here, and I do what I can to answer it, inshallah. Or you can send a message through About Islam, and I can answer it that way. As always, y'all know that Naaila wants to know who's here. Y'all let me travel. Let me travel the world with you, and let me know where you are today. Who is here? Where are you? And what time is it in your city? So glad to have you here with us today. Okay, you're from Kashmir. I think Assalamu alaikum, Shahid. And not just, you didn't just say Kashmir, you said occupied Kashmir. Okay, so what am I going to talk about? I will be talking about relationships. I have questions that have already been submitted to me, and I'll be answering those questions. So, while I have had the opportunity to look at them, for some of them, I will be just as surprised as you are, because I just get the questions and have to, okay, so About Islam answer that they are about marriage and in-laws. Today, she was very specific for me. I appreciate that. And Nicola is in Canada. It looks like I'm going to be coming to Toronto soon, which would be absolutely wonderful. Okay, but you're in New York. All right. Thank you so much for being here today. All right, so I'm going to go to the first question for today. Inshallah, all of you will get something from them. Okay, assalamu alaikum. My in-laws trouble me a lot, and they simply blame me without mistakes. And my husband knows well that it's not my fault, but he doesn't know what to do. So he told me to be with my parents till he solves the problem. But now nothing has happened. The thing is, they have totally diverted my husband's mind, and I'm shocked by the way he talks to me, and his parents and his sisters are challenging. Well, my husband is good, and I want him to come back. So I can get dua. And what can bring my husband and me and make us closer? Okay, so I'm taking into the cultural context of the person who sent this in. I'm not going to say where they're from, but I do believe that, every time you get a question, there are so many things that are already there that you don't know. And one of the things that you always have to take into consideration is where a person is from and the cultural context, because roots run deep. Where people come from and their family climate and culture, it runs deep. So I want to be considerate of that. And you say, what can make you and your husband closer? Because, this is about Islam. First thing I got to go to, I'm going to give you what the Prophet ﷺ said. when he was asked, when his daughter asked him, she said, "What can I do to be closer to my husband?" And he directed them to the prayers, to praying together, to praying together, to praying together at night. So that's going to be the first thing. Now we got to back up, because based on what you just said, you and your husband, you are not living in the same space. It's hard to become close to someone and you're not living in the same space. Islam tells us that in order to know someone, there are 3 things that you do. You've got to live with them, you do business with them, or you travel with them. And you're not living with your husband. And so one of the first things that's going to need to happen here is that you and your husband are going to need to be living in the same place. Now, I know that he says that he told you to go to your parents until he solves the problem. It's really difficult to solve a problem when you're not there. Now, how can he solve a problem and you're not there to give your input? It is difficult to solve a problem when you can't really see if the thing that you want to try to do to make it easier for everyone, if it's going to work if you're not there. So I think you may have noticed the pattern here. The key thing here is you're not there. You're not there in the house. So either you will need to be able to return to the parents, to your in-laws' home, or your husband will need to go to your home, or you and your husband find your own home together where you're not living with anyone, where you live by yourselves so that you can create your own family life and your own marriage. That's going to be the first thing. It's really hard to become close to someone that you're married to and you're not living with them. Someone said, why is it so difficult to marry a girl these days? I'm going to come back to that. Oh, but someone from Bangladesh, someone from Brazil. All right, so we are all around. We've got India, we've got Canada, we've got Brazil, we've got Bangladesh, we have New York, and I am in Atlanta. So y'all just got me going all over the world today. So I want for this couple, I want you to go back and remember that there are a couple of issues here. You had an issue with your in-laws, but then there's a greater issue now. There's the lack of closeness and comfort and the ability to even feel like a married couple now that you're not with your husband. So you've created another issue. Sometimes when we think that what we're doing to solve a problem, it doesn't. Sometimes it creates a greater problem for us. So inshallah, you and your husband, you can focus on reuniting physically. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one. I'm currently cut off from chatting with the man that I was in love with, that I also, sorry, went away from me, that I wanted to marry. And due to bad timing, we can't promise each other about the marriage, so we decided to part ways. I'm not writing to that man, but I realize that my heart feels something, and I want to wipe it completely. And considering that this is the first time that I've really actually even tried to commit myself to someone, I do realize it's going to be kind of hard. And I'm the kind of person who rarely gets attached, but once I do, it's really deep. And the problem comes when a proposal comes through a friend of mine. And I did tell my friend my condition, so we didn't start the process. But lately, I've come to realize that I don't have any idea of when I'm going to get ready. And to be honest, in my mind, there's a thought. And the thought is, if I accept a proposal from a person right now and it goes well, then maybe he'll be with someone who's just like me. And I don't want that. So I want to wait until I'm a better person. But when a person who's known by me to be good, and they come along and I accept, it's not going to be fair to that person since I have this unclean heart. So basically what it is that you're saying is that I'm stuck. I'm stuck. It's hard for me to even consider another person because I still have feelings for someone else that I've decided not to be with. Yeah, I get it. This is the thing about feelings, feelings of fondness, is that when you're fond of someone and when you care about someone, it's rare that we stop caring about them. You know, I'm going to liken it to a couple who's been divorced or who's getting a divorce. It's not very often. It's not because they don't love each other. Very often, love has nothing to do with it. They may love each other, but for whatever reason, they're deciding to divorce. So I give that example to you to say that what you want is for the feelings that you have for this person to go away. They may not. They may not for quite some time. So this is going to be about you making the decision to be comfortable with your own decision. You made the decision to move away from this person and to not proceed with marriage. It's going to be about you becoming comfortable with your own decision. Sometimes adulting is really hard, and we have to feel one way and move about and make a decision while we're feeling very, very uncomfortable about a situation. All right, so Assalamu alaikum from Nigeria. How are you? Okay, so want to be sure that I don't miss anyone. If you have some feedback or something to say while I'm going, I'm gonna go on to the next one. All right. So I'm seeing the first sentence, y'all. This is one of those ones that's a little sensitive. My issue is that my husband looks at other women, younger women, not just one innocent glance, but a few looks. Not sure how long this has been going on, and one day I needed his phone, and I found belly dancing videos on his phone. That's the first time I came across this different side to him. Since then, in my presence, he's been looking at women, and he thinks I'm unaware. Then in a wedding video, while I wasn't there, he took a lot of interest in a particular young woman. He's in denial. He's in his late 40s. And every time I begin to trust him, something becomes visible to me, and I don't understand why. His point is he's never going to leave me. He has not had an affair, so what is the problem? My problem is that he clearly enjoys looking at other women. Not all, but definitely those he's attracted to. And I feel really insecure, worthless, and a failure. And I don't trust him. And is there any point of me being in this relationship? There are a lot of things going on here. We're going to unpack it. Let's unpack this. I'm going to go back again to what the Prophet ﷺ said. You know, when it says, when we see something that we don't like, look to something that we do like. I also understand, and you gave some very deep feelings here, and you said, I'm feeling insecure, I'm feeling worthless, and I'm feeling like a failure. Those are really strong emotions, and I can see how it would be hard to be in this marriage and you're feeling like that. And I'm going to say this, is that another person's behavior, while it does impact you, because this is your husband and you want your husband to be attracted to you, while it does impact you, this is going to be your duty and your gift to yourself to try to be able to separate his actions and who you are. His actions and what he does do not define who you are and your worth. And right now what you are doing is you are looking at what he does and you are attaching it to who you are. And one, that's not fair to you. Those are two totally separate things. His choices and his decisions, they do not define who you are as a human being, as a wife and as a woman. That's the first thing. Okay? Now, let's go back to the issue of him looking at other women. Sure, it is definitely a concern because Islam tells us that the first glance there is no harm, but after that there is. You get no harm. There's no issue with the first one. And there were other looks. And so I would recommend you, if you have not, direct your husband to what Islam says in regard to the harmlessness in the first look, but the harm of the following look. Secondly, it may be that you are able to find an elder or a family member or someone that he respects who's willing to speak to him in regard to this matter. Let me go back because I'm wondering, where is it that you live? Okay, I see where it is that you live. Because if you don't know, I'll let all of you know. I do a lot of work with couples, and I've seen an instance where things such as this, they've really escalated. They've escalated until a person ended up having a legal issue because their glances were so uncomfortable to other people in public. So I'm not going to dismiss the seriousness of this. And I see where you live, and you live in a place where, outside forces could intervene, where this could become a legal issue if your husband ended up looking at the wrong person and they decided to pursue it to that level. It can happen. Okay? So I would suggest, again, reminding him of Deen and seeing if you can find someone who will address him so he can understand the seriousness of it. And going back to, please do know that what he does and who you are two different people. His choices, his good decisions, his bad decisions, they do not define who you are. And now I know people will do things like that. Oh my gosh, look at his wife. What does that say about him? Oh my goodness, look at her husband. What does that say about him? People do make judgments like that all the time. You know what it says about you? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing, because this is another adult making a decision. All right? So inshallah, you'll be able to find some success there. Okay. So this is someone who's asking about sex. He says, I have some confusion about sex. I want to know this before I get married. How do I know that a woman is satisfied in bed with her husband? All right, so there are a couple of ways that you'll be able to know whether or not a person is satisfied. Again, let's go. Islam gives us beautiful, beautiful suggestions. And even the Prophet ﷺ, he has said to play with your wife, to do what you can to ensure that she is satisfied. And he suggested, he told us to use foreplay, to have some playfulness, to be intimate, to show some affection even before we begin the act of intimacy. And that's going to be the first thing, okay? To be affectionate, to be playful with her. Secondly, very often in the intimate act, that your husband or your wife, they will let you know. You will give cues by the things that they do, by the way that they respond to you, by the touches, by the way that they touch you, by the things that they say to you. And I'm going to also say this to you. The other thing that you can do is you can ask. You can ask the other person, is this something that you like? Is this something that feels good to you? Is this something that is comfortable for you? Because some touches another person may enjoy and some another person may not. That may be an uncomfortable touch for them. And you can ask them, is this okay? How would you like for me to touch you? And these are definitely the things that we should do. We would ask, if you were going to give someone some food, if you were going to give them some tea, you would ask them, how is it that you like your tea? Do you want honey? Do you want sugar? What is it that you want? Do you want any type of sweetener at all? Well, even for the sweetness of intimacy between a husband and a wife, ask them, how do they want their sweetness? All right. So, inshallah, let me quickly make sure that I haven't missed anyone, that I don't have any questions that have come in while we have been here. I appreciate all of you. Let me check. Okay. Not seeing anything in the inbox. Now let me look over here. I see you guys have definitely had some conversation. There was one. Assalamu alaikum, Maleha from Tanzania. I know that I've heard different people say it different ways, so I want to be respectful. Wa alaikum salam, Anisa. You are not late. You are right here with us. So glad that you did join us. Tahir from Algeria. Ooh, long way away. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. A Shaheed asked, can a Muslim say Merry Christmas to a non-Muslim friend? I'm glad. I am not a scholar, Shaheed. Well, I know relationships. I am a therapist. I stick to what I know best. So that would be something that you would have to ask a scholar. I know that I don't. And I live in a country where, here in America, where they say it all the time. I don't say it. But that would be something that you should pose that question to a scholar. Assalamu alaikum, Trudy. Assalamu alaikum, William. Please, glad to have you here. All right. So why is it so difficult to marry a girl? To get, I'm thinking you're asking, why is it so difficult for a girl to get married? You know, my first response, I get asked that question a lot. Why is marriage so difficult? You know, I'm going to answer it first. Let's be mindful, is that whatever blessing Allah has for us will not miss us. When we are meant to get married, it is surely going to happen. That's the first thing. The biggest difficulty about this is there are so many things that come with being single. And when I say things, the key word that I miss saying is emotions. There are so many feelings that come with that. There's the feeling of loneliness. There's the feeling of sadness. Is the loss of companionship. And then seeing other people, other couples together. And that's hard to watch sometimes. And so what we have to do is that it is going to be necessary to be able to please excuse me, to be able to adjust ourselves so that we're going to be able to have some patience with Allah's decree and to be able to manage those feelings when they come up. Because it is difficult to watch other people get married, to see other couples, to see them starting their families, and to really, loneliness is a very, very strong feeling. Loneliness, fear, and love, those are the three emotions that can cause people to do many things that they may not do at other times. So I do understand that. And so is it difficult? Yes, it does. It does feel like it's difficult. I do get that. And I'm going to say to you, Tahira, may Allah grant you ease with it. And I pray that Allah will send you your Jinnah husband and me. All right, so. Yes, Anissa, you saw the kitty, you saw Mackenzie. All right. Hey, so, wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum, Ms. Louise. Thank you for coming. And so I've got all the questions for today. Okay, I've got one. One came in through Twitter. Let me make sure I get that. If a woman had an affair at a very young age and then they lost contact, and the woman married another man, and they were living happily. And then the person she had an affair with, they established contact, and she responded. What is the ruling for a woman if she wants to continue contact, if any feelings about boyfriend are no more, but she wants to continue as a friend? Okay, the key word here is ruling. I am not a scholar. I do not deliver fatwas. So I have no ruling to offer for this, but I do have some common sense advice to give. Stay away. Leave this man alone. You are a married woman. This is a man that you have had a prior relationship with before. Inshallah, you have made tawbah and Allah has accepted your repentance. Do not go back and have contact with this man. You are setting yourself up to be at risk. This is not someone that you need to have a friendship with. If you want friends, then you need to get some closeness with your husband. Go out with some sisters. Spend some time with your family. Leave this man alone. All right? I do not have a ruling, but I do have some common sense advice to give. That is not a safe zone for you. When a man and a woman are alone, the third person present is shaitan. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of ways that we can talk ourselves out of that. Anissa, you were looking for the kitty. I know you can't see him, but the kitty he just tore through the cat food bag. So I hear him crunching. I guess I didn't feed him early enough, okay? So stay away from this man. If you have repented, alhamdulillah, inshallah, Allah has accepted it. And keep yourself straight and clean. And if you had good intentions about wanting to be away from that situation, if you made the decision to stay away from that situation as an unmarried person, you definitely need to stay away from this situation as a married person. All right, so I got all my questions for today. Y'all know I'm so happy and grateful that y'all get up and y'all come and y'all join me from all over the world. I will be back on another Wednesday in this month. Thank you. As always, I pray that Allah will bless you, that He will send you comfort, that He will bless your relationships, that He will bless the relationship that you have with you. And I know that He is closer to you than He is to your jugular vein, and that you will do nothing to break that tie with Allah. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.